A few videos back, I floated the idea of creating a space where we could interact more easily and share our builds, tips and tricks, and so on. Since the idea received quite a positive response, I decided to create a Discord server. So if you are ready to join the community, you can find the link in the description below the video, and you can join the conversation. At the end of the previous video, I mentioned that in this video I was going to switch up the order of construction a little bit and actually install the upper section of the superstructure onto the model. Ideally, I would have kept the upper section of superstructure loose until after weathering, just because it would be easier to put some of the details onto it and also do the whole weathering process. But since those details are going to make the components considerably more delicate to handle, I felt that I couldn't wait that long and that I do need to install it at this point. When joining plastic components together, especially when they're painted, I think the best glue to use is plastic cement. That's because the glue will melt through the paint and melt the plastic together, creating the strongest bond. Since these components aren't properly shaped and there is a fair amount of bending that needs to be done to get everything to sit into the correct position, I don't think plastic cement is going to be fast enough drying, which means I'm going to have to use super glue. This is medium viscosity super glue. I'm applying it to the majority of the join line. There is quite a big gap here that needs to be filled. That's why I'm putting down a lot of super glue. The idea is that it will hold in some places, but not in others. I just want to try and get the superstructure in place and tacked down. In some areas, I actually do expect the super glue to rip the paint off of the model and then have to apply even more super glue. Once I have what I think is enough super glue down, I place the upper superstructure onto the deck and push it down. And as you can see, it barely sticks. So I haven't been able to get the super glue into the correct places to make this work. That means I need to hold it in place and go through the somewhat messy process of applying vast quantities of extra thin super glue to the side of the superstructure. To apply this super glue, I am using the super glue applicator tool, which in my opinion does pick up quite a lot of super glue, and I'm just applying this to the seam line. I know I'm getting it on a lot of surfaces. I'm going to have to do a lot of cleanup afterwards, and that's going to be tricky, but this is kind of what I was expecting. This is precisely why I have decided to install this part of the superstructure now instead of waiting till later on in the build. Throughout the whole time that I'm applying this extra thin super glue, I am pushing down on the superstructure quite hard to make sure that it does make as good a contact as possible. And as I apply this extra thin super glue, I also apply a super glue accelerator to cause it to instantly set. This super glue is both bonding the superstructure to the deck and filling gaps. One fortunate thing about this installation is that the connection point between this upper section of superstructure and the deck is in a recessed part of the model. That means that this seam line will be concealed. In one area, this aft section by the funnel, where the seam line is very visible, I'm once again quite fortunate in that the deck that it is being attached around is photo etch, which means that any super glue that I get onto that area of the deck can actually be easily removed. And then of course, for the deck that goes in the recessed areas of the ship, it's just more difficult to see, and there are also larger gaps over there. As for those larger gaps, the way I'm going to fill them is using Revell Contactor Professional. The Revell Contactor bottle has this rather convenient thin metal tube that I'm able to stick into the recess and pump in vast quantities of medium viscosity plastic cement. So although I am using a lot of super glue to initially hold this upper section of superstructure in place, I am filling gaps and creating additional bonding strength using medium viscosity plastic cement and, where I can, extra thin plastic cement. After all of that manhandling, I eventually get this upper section of superstructure properly bonded to the deck. Unfortunately, during the process of doing all of that, I did manage to break a join at the aft of the superstructure. So I now have this bit lifting up off of the deck. As I said, these upper sections of superstructure do not fit well together and they are somewhat warped. If you recall back quite a few videos now, you'll know that the reason why I stuck down this part of the superstructure first was so that I could push the deck from below up into it because it was concaved. That has not been helpful in this situation, and I suspect is part of the reason why this piece of superstructure snapped off of the deck. The deck wants to bend down, the superstructure wants to bend up, and so it is separated. The unfortunate thing is that, as you can see, there are a fair number of details in this area which are now going to get in the way. For now, though, I will just leave that and try and get the full superstructure properly bonded down. So once again, I apply more extra thin superglue to the seam line using the superglue applicator. Fortunately, after re-gluing down this aft section of the superstructure, everything does stay in place. No more parts lift off. That means I can now move on to the cleanup. This is going to be the most tricky part of the exercise. There are now many seam lines all around the superstructure that are clogged up with superglue, and that superglue needs to be removed, flattened out, and the area repainted correctly. And in some areas, I even need to recreate the camouflage pattern. To start the festivities, I grip 600 grit sanding cloth and tweezers and start slowly sanding away at the superglue. This sanding cloth is actually really good. I'm very glad that Tamiya came out with these products. It actually works incredibly well. It's especially good when the sanding cloth is fresh. It really does eat through the superglue quite quickly. In the few areas where there is a fairly open space, I work at it with the rotary sanding tool. That is also really nice in these confined areas, but it is a bit limited because it's quite difficult to get the sanding tool's head into these very constrained areas. After all of the sanding, which did result in a few details being knocked off here and there, fortunately they weren't damaged, they were just knocked loose. But after all of that, I'm able to move on to touching up the paintwork. This required some fairly elaborate and careful masking. This really does indicate why I didn't want to paint the camouflage onto the superstructure after it had been assembled. This is why I painted on the components before assembly. Fortunately, there's only this one seam line that I need to deal with, so it is limited to this specific area of the ship. Anyway, after applying all of the masking tape, I started with the first round of paint. This is Mr. Color number 308. This is the light gray color and the camouflage pattern. This round of painting served two purposes. Firstly, it was because everything needed a base coat of Mr. Color number 308. But also it was the first opportunity for me to see the state of the seam line. I was quite concerned that it would be very ugly, very noticeable, and it would also show up if any of the sanding or excess superglue had been left behind and that needed to be dealt with. The state of the seam line and the paint was actually pretty good, so I was able to remove the masking tape for the most part and then apply more masking tape to now mask off the colors where I need to paint in Mr. Color 14, navy blue. When painting the navy blue, I did have to reconstruct some of the parts of the camouflage pattern that had been damaged during the sanding or the painting of the light gray. Fortunately, there weren't many of those areas, so it wasn't too complicated. After all the navy blue corrections had been applied, the masking tape was then removed, and I moved on to the second round of Mr. Color 308 light gray painting. The reason why I've gone light gray, then navy blue, then light gray again is because it just simplifies the masking. In certain areas, it's easier to mask off the light gray and paint the navy blue, and in other areas, it's easier to mask off the navy blue and paint the light gray. That's the step that I'm going to do now, and it's basically limited to this area around the base of the funnel. There's this small step on the side of the funnel, and at the aft where it goes onto this platform where the mast is going to go, it's the compass platform. There, it's just a lot easier to mask the curve of the funnel rather than the funnel's shape on the deck. So to do all of this, yet more masking tape is applied, and the area is once again sprayed with Mr. Color 308 light gray. This small step that is in light gray on the side of the funnel actually turns out to be really convenient. So you see, when I was sanding that step, I did soften the edge a bit. It was basically avoidable. But when I paint this light gray line there, this thin stripe, it makes it look sharp again. It's a bit of an optical illusion. It is an optical illusion, but it really does work and helps conceal that joint line very effectively. So I'm quite glad with how it turned out in that very visible area of the joint. And if you look further forward on the seam line, where it goes underneath this recess in the superstructure and sits in between the wooden deck, Over there, it's actually quite difficult to see in, and with the wooden deck concealing the join and all of that, it actually blends in quite well. So I'm quite surprised with how well this has turned out. I think I've been very lucky here. This could have gone a lot worse than it did. Since this has been so successful, there's only one more thing for me to paint, and that's to touch up the deck. This is Mr. Color number 365, Sea Blue. So once again, the area of the superstructure is masked off, and the deck is sprayed in this color. With the color corrections complete, I can now add the components that are knocked off during this whole assembly process, starting with the Bofors tubs at the aft of the superstructure. These, as I said in the previous video, are a bit tricky. I wasn't entirely happy with their shape, and I did use this opportunity to pull both of them off actually, and then just slightly reshape them. So they are a little bit smaller, but I do think overall they fit a bit better and their shape is a bit better. I'm not going to say that I'm entirely happy with them. They're not the best of the Bofors tubs on the ship. That's quite obvious. But I think that when the Bofors emplacement is actually put into them, it'll conceal a lot of the issues that I have with them. I think that just having them there, the space that they take up, will conceal a lot of the defects that I'm seeing with them. The other thing to keep in mind when you're looking at this model is that the super glue has been applied but not covered with anything yet, which means it's glossy and most of the paintwork is quite matte at this point. That does make it stand out and look much worse than it actually is. The last thing to keep in mind is that depending on the size of the screen that you're watching this on, I'm watching this on a 27-inch screen, the actual model is quite enlarged. This is a zoomed in, very much zoomed in version of the ship, so you do see a lot more defects than there actually are if you're looking at it with your eye. Anyway, that's enough of the excuses and rationalizing. Let's move on with some construction. At the top of this section of superstructure sits the base for the main rangefinders. Before I install that base, I want to install ladders onto the side of this piece of superstructure. I hadn't installed these ladders because I wanted to first paint the camouflage pattern onto the base. That's just so that the ladders didn't get in the way of the masking. That step has long since been completed, so installation of the ladders can now proceed. Since this type of ladder just comes in a single long piece, I need to get the correct length. To do that, I used calipers to find the correct length before cutting it off of the photo etch fret. There's usually a lot of excess ladder of this type, so I probably don't need to be that careful. I could probably just cut off an obviously long section and then trimmed it down. But I have calipers, so I might as well use them to get the correct length the first time. This is the type of ladder that needs to be folded such that the actual rungs stand off from the side of the superstructure. Folding this type of ladder is easiest folded using a photo etch folding tool. It just allows you to fold all the rungs on the ladder simultaneously while keeping everything in alignment and ensuring that the ladder doesn't get bent or skew. These are one of those pieces of photo etch that is very easy to fold with a photo etch folding tool, but that can be deceptively difficult when you fold it with tweezers. After folding, the parts are given their first coat of paint in Mr. Color number 308, after which they are installed onto the superstructure. To install the ladders, I place a small drop of medium viscosity superglue on the tip of one end and then position it on the superstructure, letting it fall into position. Before gluing down the bottom end and before the glue has fully set, I adjust the position of the ladder to ensure that it is standing vertically. After which I moved on to repeat the process for the other side of the base. Unfortunately, I was now rushing, and rushing is always a bad idea because it actually makes things go slower because you make mistakes which have to be corrected. In this case, it started fine. I bonded the top of the ladder in place using medium viscosity superglue as I did before, but then I didn't properly check that it was vertical before applying the extra thin superglue to bond the length of the ladder in place. This meant that I had to remove the ladder and repeat the process. Since neither of these ladders actually extend over an area where there is this navy blue camouflage, it turns out that I could have actually installed the ladders before painting the camouflage. Nevertheless, it does make this step a little bit easier, the touch-up of the paintwork, because all I need to do is mask off this small area of navy blue before I can essentially respray the entire part with Mr. Color 308 light gray. While the paint on the base of the main rangefinder is drying, there's also a small correction I need to make on this vent structure near the aft of the ship. The top of it is not meant to be light grey. It's actually meant to be navy blue, the same color as the dark areas of the superstructure. So I need to mask off the sides of this box and then spray it with Mr. Color number 14, navy blue. Fortunately, that is quite a simple correction. After doing that small correction, the paint on the base of the rangefinder has sufficiently dried for me to be able to handle it, so I can now go ahead and actually install it on the ship. First, I'm going to do a quick test fit just to make sure that the box where it is indicated to be installed is actually correctly aligned, and it does look like it's right, so I can proceed with installation. This, if you recall back now many videos, is actually an entirely photo etch platform, which means plastic cement is not going to work to bond this component in place, so I need to use super glue. Normally for a component like this, I'd apply extra thin super glue to the side and let capillary action draw it underneath the component, but here we have a rather delicate mesh that would be at high risk of being clogged by that super glue, so I don't want to take that approach. Instead, since this component does have a hollow cavity, I'm going to take the approach of applying a lot of medium viscosity superglue to the area and pushing it up to the edge with the intention of the superglue just catching the inside of this component. With the superglue in place, the base is carefully loaded onto the platform and its position is adjusted. With the base of this rangefinder in place, the construction of the superstructure is actually complete. From this point on, it's really just adding smaller details. So that is where I will be going in the next video. If you don't want to wait for the scheduled release of videos and want to watch them when they are uploaded, consider becoming a channel member by clicking the join button below. If you would like to support the channel, like and subscribe, and as always, questions are welcome in the comments. Thank you for watching. Cheers.